I never thought I would be the kind of person who could destroy everything I loved in a single, careless lapse of judgment. But here I am, sitting in the ruins of my marriage, trying to piece together how it all went so wrong, replaying every moment that led to that one fateful week at the work conference. It started innocently enough. The conference was in a city I'd never been to, a place bustling with new faces, exciting presentations, and the kind of professional networking opportunities that could define your career. I told myself I was going to focus entirely on work. I'd spent months preparing for this event, perfecting presentations, rehearsing pitches, and mapping out meetings with potential clients. My husband, Eric, and my daughter Lily were supportive, though Eric's usual warmth had a faint edge of worry. He always worried a little too much, a little too often, about me, about our family, about how my career sometimes overshadowed the quieter joys of our home life. I brushed it off. I was busy. I was important, and I was good at what I did. The hotel was grand, more luxurious than I was used to, with chandeliers that sparkled like stars and hallways that smelled faintly of expensive perfume and polished wood. I checked in late in the afternoon and headed straight for the welcome reception. That's when I first saw him. Greg. He wasn't supposed to matter. He was just another attendee, one of many, but there was something about him that immediately caught my attention. He had a confidence I hadn't seen in years, a charm that was magnetic in the worst possible way. And he noticed me. He smiled, just a small, knowing curve of his lips, and my knees felt like they'd forgotten how to support me. We started talking. Professional at first. Greg had a laugh that was easy and warm, unlike Eric's quiet, practical humor, which had always been steady but predictable. Greg's attention was intoxicating. He listened with intensity, asked questions, remembered details, made me feel like the only person in the room. I knew it was dangerous. I knew I should step back. But the thrill of being seen, of feeling desired, was something I hadn't realized I was starving for. By the second night, the line between professionalism and something more personal had blurred. A few drinks at the hotel bar, the soft hum of music in the background, laughter mingling with the scent of expensive cocktails. Before I even recognized the moment, we were leaning into each other in a way that was undeniably intimate. One kiss, one mistake, and it spiraled. We were careless, reckless, and I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years. But there was a shadow at the edge of my mind, a whisper telling me what I was doing, and whose lives I was about to shatter. I tried to convince myself it was just a moment, that it wouldn't matter once I went home. But it did matter. It mattered in the way guilt settles into your bones, in the way your stomach knots whenever you think about your daughter laughing in the living room, about Eric making his terrible coffee just the way I like it, about the quiet routine we'd built together. And yet, when Greg was near, the rational part of me seemed to dissolve. Returning home should have been a relief, a reset, but it wasn't. The secrecy, the small lies I told to cover up my absence became heavier every day. I started to notice Eric's subtle changes, though I didn't understand them at the time. He was quieter, more observant. He asked fewer questions, but his eyes, his sharp, perceptive eyes, seemed to see right through me. I told myself he was just stressed from work, from life. Anything but the truth. The revelation came crashing down in a way I never expected. Lily, our sweet, perceptive 12-year-old, had somehow found out. Maybe she saw messages. Maybe she overheard a conversation. I'll never know exactly how. She didn't yell or cry at first, not like I anticipated. Instead, she confronted me in the living room, her small hands trembling slightly, her eyes wide with confusion and hurt. "Mom, did you—" Her voice faltered, barely audible. I froze, caught off guard by the purity of her disbelief. I wanted to lie, to cover up my mistake, but the look in her eyes was like a mirror showing me every flaw, every failure. I couldn't do it. "Yes," I whispered, my voice breaking. "I made a mistake." Her expression shifted from confusion to sorrow and then anger. How could you? How could you do this to Dad? To us? It was like a physical blow. She ran from the room before I could answer, leaving me with the sound of my own heart hammering in my ears. A few minutes later, Eric came home. He had seen the messages on my phone. I knew him well enough to know he would, and he had pieced together the truth from Lily's silent, accusatory glance. The confrontation was quiet but devastating. Eric didn't yell, didn't slam doors. He simply looked at me, eyes steady and cold, and said, "I can't believe you'd do this. I trusted you. We trusted you." There was a pause, heavy and suffocating, and then he left the room without another word. I wanted to follow him, to beg, to explain, but I knew nothing I could say would undo what had happened. The days that followed were unbearable. The house was quiet in a way I had never experienced. Eric slept in the guest room, and Lily barely looked at me. They ate together, went to school, to work, as if I weren't even there. I tried to apologize, to reach out, but my words felt hollow, my presence unwelcome. The laughter that used to fill the house was gone, replaced by a tense, suffocating silence. And then I noticed something that cut deeper than the silence. Eric was thriving. At first, it was subtle. He started going to the gym more, taking long walks in the morning, eating healthier. He smiled more, laughed more. He began spending weekends on hiking trips with Lily, just the two of them. The two of them, not me. I watched from the shadows, feeling a mixture of jealousy and shame. Eric was happy without me in a way I had never seen before. He had a freedom, a lightness that I had never realized I had stifled. Every step I took toward reconciliation felt like a reminder that I didn't deserve it, that I had destroyed the very thing that gave my life stability and warmth. Lily, too, seemed to flourish in this new dynamic. She became closer to her father, more confident, more independent. I saw them planning weekend trips, laughing at jokes I didn't hear, sharing stories I wasn't part of. The irony was brutal. My selfish act had driven a wedge between us, but it had also strengthened the bond I had taken for granted. I had betrayed my family, and in doing so, they had found each other in ways I could never compete with. I tried for a while to insert myself back into their lives. I cooked dinners, tried to make small gestures, bought gifts. But it was like throwing stones into a river. The water flowed around them without a ripple, and I was left standing on the shore, ignored, irrelevant. Eric's happiness was a constant reminder of my failure. I had given him the chance to leave me, and he had taken it, not in anger, but in quiet, deliberate liberation. Months passed. I moved back into our old bedroom, but I slept alone most nights. I watched Eric and Lily from the other side of the house, seeing them thrive, seeing them laugh. And slowly, I realized something I hadn't expected. I wasn't just sad or angry. I was proud of them. Proud of Eric for finding joy after my betrayal. Proud of Lily for navigating the pain with resilience. But that pride was tinged with the bitterest regret because I knew I had no part in it. None at all. I tried therapy, tried to understand why I had done what I did, tried to forgive myself. But forgiveness was elusive. Every reflection, every memory of that week at the conference, every stolen kiss was a knife twisting in my chest. I could see now how easily desire can blind you, how quickly the illusion of excitement can mask the truth of what's at stake. And I had paid the price. Eric, though, had moved on in ways I could not. He found joy in small things, teaching Lily to ride a bike, cooking breakfast on weekends, joking with coworkers in a way that was effortless and warm. He had reclaimed his life, and in doing so, he had made it clear that my presence was optional. He didn't hate me. He didn't even look at me with anger anymore. He looked at me with a quiet, detached acceptance, as if I were a shadow of the life he once knew, a life he no longer needed. I tried dating, tried to meet people, tried to find some spark that could replace what I had lost. But it was hollow. The thrill I had chased with Greg was meaningless compared to the depth of what I had destroyed. Every interaction, every fleeting connection, was a reminder that I had squandered the most precious thing I had: a husband who loved me, a daughter who looked up to me, a home that was supposed to be safe. Occasionally, I would hear them laughing together, their voices carrying through the house. I would see them walking in the park, Eric's arm around Lily's shoulders, her head resting against him. And I would cry, quietly, privately, mourning not just the marriage I had lost, but the person I had been, the life I had thrown away for a moment of selfishness. Sometimes, at night, I would sit in the living room with a glass of wine and think about Greg. I would remember the way his hands felt, the intoxicating warmth of his attention, and I would shiver, not with pleasure, but with the bitter sting of memory. That fleeting excitement had cost me everything. And while I could not undo it, I had to live with it, had to carry it as a constant reminder of what selfishness can do. And yet, amidst all the sorrow, there was a strange, painful clarity. I could see now the resilience of those I had hurt. I could see the life that continued, vibrant and unbroken in spite of me. Eric was happy. Lily was happy. They were thriving in ways I could never have imagined. And though I had once been the center of their world, I was now peripheral, a cautionary tale of desire and betrayal. I had lost everything, but in their happiness, there was a lesson I could never forget. Love is not just about being wanted. It's about trust, loyalty, the quiet constancy of showing up. I had failed spectacularly, but in failing, I had illuminated the depth of what they had, something I could never take from them, no matter how much I had tried to destroy it. Now, I live in a house that feels like a museum of memories, wandering the rooms of a life I no longer belong to. I see Eric and Lily's silhouettes through the windows, hear their laughter drifting through the halls, and I am left with the echo of my mistakes. The work conference, the thrill, the betrayal. They are ghosts haunting every corner. But so is the undeniable truth. They are thriving, and I am the one left to reckon with the consequences. I am haunted by the sound of my own voice apologizing in empty rooms, by the sight of my daughter's eyes narrowing in betrayal, by the quiet dignity of my husband as he reclaimed his life without me. And though I cannot change the past, I will carry it with me, a constant, unyielding reminder that the most dangerous moments are the ones that feel harmless at the time. I am a cautionary tale now, a story whispered to warn others of the cost of fleeting desire. And as I watch Eric and Lily, happier and freer than ever, I know with absolute certainty that I will never again be at the center of that joy. I am outside, looking in, and I have no one to blame but myself.